So welcome to wugbot. Takes on Python. Stop me if I'm going too fast or anything, if you have any questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you guys how to make a Twitter bot. And so the Twitter bots that I have already made, there's this one which is all the languages. And basically it just tweets all of the languages, all 7,000 of them. It started tweeting in last April or March, I think, and then it's going to finish sometime this May. So once every hour, it takes a language from Ethnolog and tweets it. And basically, the basic code of it is on the handout, and the consumer key and consumer secret and all of that is blocked out, because those are like a kind of password. And the language codes, I only included a couple, just as an example. I put all 7,000 into that array, but otherwise that's the exact code that's running this bot. So as you can see, it's not too much code, it's not too overwhelming. It's just half a sheet of paper. So that's one Twitter bot. And so it's sort of generating new tweets, and it generates different tweets depending on the language. So like, this is a vigorous language of Papua New Guinea, this is a threatened language of Indonesia, that kind of thing. The other bot that I have is wugbot, and so that's us, and it retweets everything that says computational linguist or mother language. Right now, it should be retweeting things that say wugbot too, but for some reason it's not. But yeah, so computational linguist, I think somewhere in this link it probably says computational linguist. Yeah, computational Yiddish linguist in the title, which is why this got caught. Even though it doesn't say computational linguist in the tweet, it's part of this URL, so it somehow got caught and retweeted. So this is retweeting stuff. All the languages is generating new tweets. They're both basically the same kind of idea. One uses Twython and one uses Tweepy. Those are both different packages, and I'm not really sure which one's better, but today I'm going to use Tweepy. So the first thing that you need to do when you're making a Twitter bot is you need to have a Twitter account. So I have Wuglaugh as a brand new Twitter account that I made just yesterday. So here we are. Doesn't have any tweets. I followed a couple people. No, nothing. And we're gonna make it into a laughing bot, and it's just gonna laugh. It's gonna be creepy, but that's okay. So what you need to do. So are you guys following along? Are you guys gonna make your own bots today?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you guys have a Twitter account?
Yes.
That you want to botify?
Yeah.
Okay, so log into your Twitter account. I'll give you a minute. And once you're logged in, you want to go to apps.twitter.com. And it should, theoretically, if you've never done this before, say you don't have any Twitter apps. Let's make that bigger. There. Okay, so you don't have any Twitter apps, so create new app. And so the application name, I'm going to call it LaughBot. It really doesn't matter. Description, this bot will laugh. Website, again, this doesn't matter, but I'm just going to put wugbot.org. You guys can put wugbot.org too. The only reason that the website matters is if there's an error, it will redirect the user to the website, but that rarely actually ever happens. You don't need a callback URL, terms and conditions if you want to read all of them, and of course you agree. Create your Twitter application. Error. yeah. So now that you have your application, you should go to permissions, and you want to give it full rights. So read, write, and access direct messages. Update the settings. And it may take a moment for the changes to reflect. And then these are some passwords that you use if anyone's watching this screencast. You can regenerate the consumer key and secret, which is what I will do after I finish the screencast, so that no one can hack into my account, especially since this is my real account and not my fake wug laughing account. Once you've changed your permissions over here in the permissions tab to full access, you should go to keys and access tokens and make sure that this says read, write, and direct messages. And then you should scroll down and say create my access tokens. And it'll take a minute and it'll say has successfully generated, and so now you have access tokens. So these are more special passwords. And so if you go to test OAuth, you'll see your consumer key, your consumer secret, your access token, and your access token secret. So has everyone gotten this far?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Almost? Okay. So I have a new Python file, brand new blank Python file. And basically I'm going to take bits of code from this handout that we have. I'm just going to type it in so you guys can kind of follow along. So I'm going to be using Tweepy. Oh, before we start doing Tweepy, do you guys know how to install new packages on your laptops? New Python packages? Like installing packages?
I think so.
Okay, so I don't know how to do it on Windows or Chromebook, but on Mac or Linux for sure, you do pip install, and then the package that we want is Tweepy. And I've already installed it, so it says requirement already satisfied. If I were to install a package that I hadn't installed, it would come up with a bunch of things about like downloading and installing and stuff. So if you guys have a terminal or a similar application to the terminal, then you can do that. If you don't know how to install packages on your operating system, there's Tweepy package Python. If you go to the Tweepy website, I guess you can download it and install it from the Tweepy website, but I've had trouble installing packages by downloading them. It works better for the terminal for me for some reason. Were you?
I'm using terminal.
Okay. Did you do pip install?
Yes.
Tweepy? And is it doing something? It'll take a while because it has to download and install.
Okay, got this message.
You got it. Try. Oh wait, did you? Okay, try sudo, sudo, and then pip install Tweepy, and it might ask you for your password.
Okay, it's working.
Okay, yeah. So a lot of times if something in the terminal doesn't work, you can do the same exact command but put sudo in front of it, and it'll give you full access rights to the to your computer.
Okay.
So you have Tweepy installed. So the first thing we want in our Python thing is to import Tweepy, because we will need that package. The other packages that you'll need, I think, are import time and import sys. So we can actually do that all in one line. So time and sys. time and sys I think should just be standard packages that come when you install Python. But if we get weird errors, then we'll figure that out later. And so I'm going to follow the tweepy kind of layout over here. So we have consumer secret equals, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and copy this and paste it over here. And then consumer, oh, that's a consumer key, sorry. That's a consumer key. And this is a consumer secret equals, and I'll go over here, copy and paste that. And then access key equals, copy and paste this. And access secret equals, and then there's that one. So basically you're just setting these variables to the value of your different randomly generated passwords that Twitter has given you. And then the next thing we want is we want another variable we'll call auth for authorization equals tweepy. So it's using the package tweepy, and then o auth handler. That's a function that's built into tweepy to handle these passwords, basically. And so you write consumer secret, or consumer key, and then consumer secret, and then that's one, and then the other one is auth.set access token, and then that's access key and access secret. And if I'm going too fast, please stop me or ask questions. And then the last thing we want to do is API, and that stands for Application Program Interface, I think, something like that. So API equals tweepy.api and then auth. So basically, if you have all of these, where do you guys usually run Python when you're running Python? Do you run it in the terminal?
I use an editor.
You use an editor? Okay. So wherever you run Python, I usually just do it in the terminal. But wherever you run Python, that's cool, whatever you're comfortable with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste all of this and run it in Python. And we're going to test to see if it worked. So I'm going to make a variable called test tweet, and I'm going to set it to wugbot says hello. And then I'm going to do API dot update status test tweet. So let's get out of here. Let's go back to Twitter. So right now the last thing I tweeted was inviting you guys to wugbot today. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this variable test tweet, and now I'm going to do API status, and we're going to see if this worked. So we got a lot of stuff here, but if we refresh the page, it's updated my status. Anyway, so that was a test tweet and it worked. You actually don't need it, so I'm going to comment that out of the code. but it works. So that's cool. So then what we want is for this to generate tweets. So we don't want to say like test tweet equals and then, write a tweet and then update the status. I mean, that's a lot of work. Why wouldn't you just use Twitter, right? So you want automatically generated tweets, right? So one way we can automatically generate tweets is to like write a little function that generates some kind of text. So the function that I have that generates text is part of the NLTK book. It's from chapter 3. So NLTK chapter 3. I think it's problem number 27. And the answer to chapter 3, exercise 27, that I came up with is on the back side of the handout that I gave you. So basically, it doesn't even use the NLTK package. It just uses the basic things, and it generates laughter. So import random, and then define the function laughter, and you give it a number, and you say laugh equals. It's not really clear in the handout, but that's 2 single quotes. You can do or 2 double quotes. It doesn't really matter whether it's single quotes or double quotes in Python. Then while the length of laugh is shorter than n, so n is going to be how long our laugh will be, we're going to append to laugh a random choice of one of these letters. So we make H very probable by putting it there twice, and then we have either A or E or a space. And then it return laugh. So, zoom back out. Now if we go back to Python and we define our function laughter n, right now we're not doing anything with Twitter, we're just making sure that our function laughter works. So if I put laughter 5, let me zoom in on this, laughter not defined. Okay, so I definitely defined laughter. Oh, laughter. There we go. That's what's wrong. Okay, I misspelled laughter. So, laughter 5. Yeehaw. Okay. Laughter 10. Laughter 100. Yeah. Laughter 140. Yeah, okay. So it just basically generates kind of the random sort of laughter that you might generate when you're texting someone or something. So it's a pretty simple function, but it randomly generates it. So what we want to do is we want to put this and combine it with our Twitter bot, right? So what we can do is, let's see, how do we do random numbers in Python? I forget. Do you guys know how to do random numbers in Python?
She knows.
I know I used to.
It's just random.int.
Random.int and then a range?
Yeah.
Random.randint and then a range. So, you're very close. Good. So we want our Twitter length to be no more than 140, right? Because that's the maximum number of characters that we can tweet. But what should our minimum length be? What's the minimum length of laughter?
2.
2? Okay, so between 2 and 140 characters. So laugh length equals, so I'm going to set that variable there. And then I'm going to API.update status. God, I hope no one's following me on Twitter right now. This is going to be embarrassing. I made the special laugh wug Twitter account so that this wouldn't be embarrassing, but whatever. And so we're going to put the function laughter into the update status, and we're going to pass as the variable, instead of a number, we're going to pass laugh length. So we set laugh length here to a random integer between 2 and 140, and so we're going to use the function that we defined, laughter, at a random length, and we're going to update our status with the result. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to run this in the terminal, and it looks like it was successful. So I'll refresh my Twitter page, and my next tweet is, yeah. So that's cool. But now the question is, well, how do we keep it going? Right? Because you want it to keep going forever. So you guys probably have learned why it's bad to write an infinite loop. But in this case, we do want it to be an infinite loop, because we want it to go on forever. Does that make sense? Because if you want it to tweet forever, then you want an infinite loop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of this inside of an infinite loop. So I'm going to set x is equal to -1, and then while x is greater than, while x is less than 0, laugh.length, random int, API update status, that. Now the thing is, this will keep updating the status sequentially every, however long it takes to process this, so every couple milliseconds. That will be really, really, really annoying. So what I do is I do time.sleep, and this is why I have import time up here, and then you can set it to wait a certain number of seconds before it repeats the process. That way you're not spamming people's Twitter feeds with your bot spam. So in the case of all the languages, I have it set to tweet 1 language per hour, because I estimated that that's how long it would take for about a year to get through the 7,000 languages. So there's about 7,000 hours in a year. So I have time sleep set to about an hour. So how long should we make it sleep for? 5 seconds? 10 seconds? 20 seconds. Okay, yeah. So every 20 seconds, while x is less than 0, it's going to set a random integer, and it's going to update the status with laughter. But the thing is, because we're not ever changing x in this loop, x is always going to be less than 0, because we set x to -1 out here. So we'll run this and refresh, and there's my next status update. So now we're going to wait for 20 seconds. I know this is really, really embarrassing, but I think I think it'll make sense to people once they see this podcast that we're making. So in 20 seconds, has it been 20 seconds yet? Let's refresh. There, it's been 20 seconds. And see, look, 32 seconds ago, and then 10 seconds ago, so it takes about 2 seconds of processing time. So in another 20 seconds, this should happen again. And it's going to keep doing this until I close the terminal. So it's okay. All right, so I'm going to close the terminal now so that my Twitter stops spamming. I might delete those tweets, I might not. I don't know. I haven't decided how I feel about this. But okay, so I just closed the terminal, and it should stop, hopefully.
For your other bot, the all the languages.
Yeah.
Did you find a way to like make it run without closing the terminal?
Right. So there is a way to keep it running without closing the terminal.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is that if you want a bot, right now we have a working bot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as long as I kept the terminal open, it would still every 20 seconds tweet a random bit of laughter.
Mm-hmm.
So already it's been like less than a half hour and we have a working bot. So that's cool. If you want it to keep going, you need to host it on a server. So there's a couple options. The server that I have is Amazon Web Services. And you get it for free for a year, and then after the first free year, it's like pennies. It depends on how large the files are, and the files that I am hosting are really, really small because they're just Python files and they don't take up a lot of space. So if I sign into my Amazon account, you have a virtual server, and so setting this up is actually kind of difficult if you've never used Linux before, because you have to use a Linux server if you want it to be free. There are Windows servers and there might be Mac servers too, but they cost money. So I learned Linux just to do this so that I didn't have to pay money. So there's the server, and then there's also the storage in the cloud. And basically I could host this. Why don't I host this right now? So setting up the server is really actually kind of difficult. That would be a completely other tutorial. That took me pretty much an entire day to set up the server, because you have to download Python and all the packages that you want. You have to like link your account to the server. It's kind of a mess. But there's also this this place, and so the wugbot and this is my other all the languages bot is here. So I'm gonna upload. Let me save this file. So I'm gonna save it. Add files. It's just on my desktop. laughbot.py. Start the upload. And then there's this. I'm gonna probably have to edit this video because this is like all kinds of secret passwords that I have here. But basically, to connect to my virtual server, I use this line of code. And then to download, well, basically to use the file, you kind of get it from your hosting, like your file hosting server, to this virtual machine that you're using this line of code. And then there's this line, no hup, and no hup basically means even after the terminal is closed, keep running this. And so then I call no hup and I tell it to run a Python thing, and then I tell it to run the file. And then this means I'm done with, this little and means I'm done with the no hup command. So if I go back to my Twitter account, okay, it's been 4 minutes since it's updated, so that's good. And I go to, this is my virtual server terminal, right? So I type in these 2 lines of code, and it says no hup ignoring input and appending output to no hup.out. So that basically means it's ignoring anything else that I type, and it'll keep running it. So it should be running, and now I can close this, and I'm out of the terminal. I'll even quit the terminal. And there, so it's updated with a new bit of laughter. And we'll wait another 20 seconds or so. And even though I closed the terminal, it's still going. So yeah, so that's how you keep the bot running forever. You need to host it somewhere. Now, if you want to just have your bot running while you have your computer on and connected to the internet, then you can just remember to run the code every time you turn on your computer. So you don't have to go through the whole hassle of hosting it. You can just run this code and it'll tweet. So even though I've closed the terminal, it's completely quit. It's running right now. Cool.